Alright people, driving chat time. So this is the very first time for me talking and driving. I do it all the time off camera, so I should be quite good with this on camera. So, cost of living special edition. I've just topped up half a tank. Cost me 120 quid. Well, not half a tank, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 12 bars. So I've done 3/4 of a tank. 3/4 of a tank, 120 quid, 121 pounds. Absolutely absurd. And that probably will last me all of around 4 days. So this is going to be really, really interesting because, like I said, I am going to bring you in a lot closer. We've got quite a lot going on, and I'm taking you somewhere special, so be happy because I am. I'm taking you somewhere special, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of a story of exactly why I'm taking you there. So I'm taking you to our new location, and I thought, while I get there, why not explain to you some of the backstory, and again I'm going to elaborate the backstory even more on a few more videos. But basically we are moving, and like I mentioned to you on the Ferrari wash and chat, it's not technically under the best of circumstances, but when you look at the whole picture that you're about to hear, it's probably the best circumstance that could have ever kind of happened to us, because I always believe everything happens for a reason. So currently we are going up to South Yorkshire. So I'm going to keep it a surprise, but it's basically Sheffield, South Yorkshire. Where exactly in Sheffield, you will find out in due course. But it's a very nice place. You're about to see it, and you're all going to be like, fair enough, you know, it's a decent move. We are kind of leveling up, and we are stepping up our game a little bit more. So in that respect, you can't really complain. So, like I said a few weeks ago on the video, when we're moving, in terms of it's not under the best circumstance, basically what has happened is, as you all know, we started our business. So where we're currently at now, it's our version 1 location. So version 1, first ever commercial kind of premises, and of course you've got to start somewhere. I think everybody will agree who is in business, who wants to go into business, or you can kind of put this into any area of your life, that of course everybody wants to live in their £1 million house on their first house, and everybody wants to have, you know, this 200,000 square foot facility with, you know, diamond chandeliers hanging everywhere. But unfortunately, unless you're one of the 0.001% of people, stuff like that has to be worked up to. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you have to work up to it. So with us, obviously, as you know, Mansfield is not my hometown, it's not my home area. We moved here for, you know, a few reasons, but because of it being classed as the Midlands, it's a very nice location to where we are in the middle of everywhere. So we can go down south to London in 2 hours, we can go up north in 2 hours, so it's not too bad, and we are close to, you know, all the major routes, M1, A1M, all that type of stuff. So our first location, we took on the first unit, if you remember, at probably the halfway point of 2018. For the people who've stuck around on the YouTube channel long enough, would have seen the V1. We had the one premises. It was 1,150 square feet, and yeah, we tried to make do with everything that we've got. And over time, again, we have been driven. This is the biggest question we get asked. We get young kind of people, like young boys and girls, approach us and say, we've seen you on whichever platform, or we want to do what you want to do. How do you do it? Any tips or tricks? The only tip or trick I ever give people is, you've got to do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, my question is, wouldn't you want to be happy? I'm sure everybody would say yes. Whatever your level or your perception of happiness is, that is where you're trying to achieve. So, going back to the first unit, the reason why when I look back at it, I almost cringe, I laugh, I sometimes cry, because if you look from where we came from, especially the previous job, and just exactly how much of our personal investment we've put in, not only time but also money, we're still to this day very proud that this is a self-funded operation. So it's an old school pride for us. We don't rely on anybody to kind of help us drive the business in all the right directions. So unit 1 came, we soon realized 1 unit isn't enough. Now, when you start out, I would love to be the place we're taking you to now. I would love to have started out in the unit that we're going in, but again, it's about 3 times the cost, it's about 3 times the size, and when you first start out, I think we with the car care range, we had 1 order a month. Just imagine that. So somebody would have placed an order for £15-20 once a month, and then started again to once a week, once a day, and obviously now we're encroaching to the hundreds per day. So unfortunately, we had to start where we start. So we made, again, anybody who's been to our HQ now will see exactly how we've made it. It's really nice. We have invested a lot of money into a place that technically isn't ours, which is okay with us. And then we started moving on to unit number 2, which is now currently slap bang right next to us, so it's across the wall. So that currently, at the time, it was a jack of all trades and master of none. So it was the storage, it was the distribution, it was the kind of the filling, packing, kind of basically everything. And then we got, from last year, you probably would have seen us, we took a host of other units on the back of us fairly quickly, because unit number 2 became a place where kind of space was a very big problem, as in it was literally playing a game of hide and seek almost. At one point we had pallet racking on top of pallet racking that was literally brimming, and we were literally taking shelves of each pallet rack to the maximum load bearing capacity. So unit 3, unit 4 are now technically our mass storage facilities, as I call them. So they're both in the 1,200, 1,250 square foot range. So we've got 2,500 square feet between the 2 of those units, literally just for storage. Now unit 2 has now had all that load taken out of it, and now that is the distribution and the kind of the fulfillment center of kind of all the international and UK orders. There is this Audi A3 on my bum, and I'm doing the speed limit. He's going to get towed. Well, he's having a go. Good night. Woo. You had to do it. Like when people race me, I'm trying to have a leisurely drive here on a Sunday. There we go. There's about £35 of fuel completely gone. Right, so as I said, unit 2 is now the fulfillment center for UK and international orders, whether that be one order or one parcel, or the multiple pallet orders that you kind of see us distribute within our network. So everything that I've just explained to you, it sounds great. We've invested a lot of money. We've even offered the landlords opposite us, you see a nice piece of greenery. It was my silly idea looking back on it now. I told them, I said, look, can I get our personal gardeners in or personal landscaping experts, and can we kind of make it really nice, like really, really nice, and we can put these like fancy trees in and all that type of stuff. And obviously they said no. There's this lovely, I think it's a birch tree that it looks lovely, but it causes kind of pollen problems in this time of year that we're in, kind of pollen season. So again, everything got refused. Next door to our UK fulfillment unit, let's call it, we call him the tractor man. Lovely man, old school, you know, but what he does is he deals with tractor clutches, to be kind of specific. So you will sometimes hear or see big clutches or tractor engines being dropped on the floor, and there's kind of oil being spilled. And you know, from a landlord perspective, apparently that is okay. But the problem with us is, if you've been here and you've seen it on all the videos, we've got this absolutely stunning signage being put up. It was custom made for us. It's not plastic, it's metal. So if you know what is currently happening in the metal pricing world, those, the big sign itself was around £3,500. The big Y is close to £1,000. Obviously we've got signage inside and stuff like that, but all of those signs, you're talking £4,500 plus 20% VAT. So what's that? £5,400, right? So those are probably the most expensive signs on that size building in the Midlands, probably in the UK. It's ridiculous, right? So really, really nice signs. And all of a sudden, about 13, 14 months on, that signage has become a problem for some reason. So the big landlord up above, the actual people who own it, all of a sudden have just woken up on the wrong side of the bed and said, well, we do not want your signage, and we do not want this, and we do not want that. Now, mind you, everything that I've just explained to you in terms of how clean we are, how much of a good image we bring to the business park. Again, as you can imagine, we are probably the quietest, most introverted people around other people that you can get. Granted, obviously we film for YouTube and stuff, but like, we don't speak to anybody, we don't cause a mess. And all of a sudden that's a problem. So obviously that has kind of rubbed us up the wrong way. So me and Kelly are thinking, well, there must be an ulterior kind of reason for this, because when you've got a guy right next door to you dropping IBC worth, so it's 1,000 litres, IBC worth of oil on the floor and letting it run away into the drains and kind of staining the concrete, that is apparently okay because it's an industrial park. That's the term, it's an industrial park. But to have industrial luxury almost signage to advertise your business all of a sudden has become illegal. And again, in our terms of kind of agreement with the lease, there has never ever been any mention of you cannot have signage. Now the funny thing is, they didn't say you can or can't have it, but one of the clauses says when you move out at the end of your period, make sure you take down any signs that you have erected. Now you read that how you want to read it, but I read it how we read it, you know. So yeah, obviously any business needs to have signage. It's really common sense. So basically the area managers, so there's two of them, kind of obviously the chain of command. This really reminds me of the military. So they come at us, we say no, then their next up cave dwellers come at us, say you have to take the signage down. No. So we're the only current business right now, as of June 2022, we are the only business within a little sub-compound of business parks to have a sign up, which sounds absolutely ridiculous. So that kind of pushed us. So we've got 4 units. We never miss a payment every month. We're, like good people. I mean, around us, there's been people who haven't paid rent, when they're leaving and they do the bad thing and don't pay rent for 3-4 months and kind of cause a big headache for the head office. People like that exist. So we've paid our rent. We've kept it clean. I mean, our pavement outside, so our areas, is probably cleaner than it probably was when it was laid. I pressure wash it personally twice a week, even though I don't need to, but I want to, because I'm a clean freak and I want to keep all the areas neat and tidy. And all of a sudden becomes a problem. So we started kind of looking for a new area. We're paying so much money every month to a company, and by the way, I believe it's the biggest or the second biggest landlord in the country. So they've got sites everywhere, north, east, south, west, everywhere. And I think if they don't want us, and if they want to basically get in people, i.e. the guy next door, who basically ruins the business park, and literally there's indents in the concrete where clutches, I mean, these clutches are about this big, are huge clutches from tractors, get dropped on the floor. The unit inside is covered in oil. So if they want to get people like that to actually devalue the overall property portfolio, fair enough, that's their choice, and they can go and kind of jump in the river, as I say. So we've kind of looked around, and we kind of came up against a big problem, and this is the problem. Currently, because of what's been happening in the world in the last 2 years, and then all of a sudden the whole cost of living shooting up everywhere, all around the world, by the way, you're paying £8 or £9 a gallon of fuel for my US friends. I've just topped this car up £2.06 per litre. Absolutely ridiculous. So because of that as well, and there's obviously new units aren't getting built because it's too expensive to build them, all of a sudden we found out. So if you are looking for anything good, you've got to listen to this. You've either got 2 choices. You've either got a sporadic, every so often, nice little unit, 1, maybe 2,000 square feet, which is, again, it's just not big enough for us right now. We've outgrown that size kind of unit. Or you've got the absolute monsters. You're talking Amazon style, 100,000 plus, even 50,000 plus. Again, we haven't grown into that shoe just yet. Or every so often you get the unit that we want, the size of it, even maybe the layout, and it's an absolute, it's in the ghetto. It's literally the worst place you could ever live, walk. You can get killed there. It's really bad. So from January of this year, we've literally every day has been so much stress. So the good thing is so our South Europe importer is expanding. We just took on North America, Canada, Guatemala, all these places. Obviously our product range is really growing. It's getting really rave reviews, and on top of all the fantastic things that are happening in our life, we're thinking, well, if we're not careful, we could almost be, in a business sense, homeless. So every day, on top of everything that I've just mentioned, we've got to go and look for units. Obviously that could be done at a night time, which it was literally 4 or 5 hours every night doing heavy research, and we looked everywhere in the country. I do not mind moving the business wherever it needs to go for the business to thrive. So if we need to go and move to an island or Scotland or London, really I don't care, because 98% of our business, like YouTube as well, is coming online. So you could basically be based in that field over there. So it's one of those things. So we looked everywhere, but of course locally would have been nice, because don't forget, to move 4 lots of units, 2 big distribution units is going to be a headache, even if you move across the road, never mind 100 mile away. So we couldn't find anything, and one day, and we were on our last thread with units, and this is where you may have noticed in and around February, March time, some people came down. I wasn't in, Kelly wasn't in, or we both weren't in, and people thinking, where you guys keep going? So we were basically arranging appointments to go and find, or to go and view these units, and some units were, fantastic. Literally, I remember even this unit now, it was on a 0.9 acre site. The unit itself was something like, 9,000 square feet. They had a massive piece of land, all tarmac perfectly, which took a 0.6 acre, 0.7 acre kind of plot on the back. On top of that, you could literally build on it, whatever. So amazing, like the good platform. But it was located in Nottingham at probably the worst estate going. There was like holes that could swallow this car up in the road, and there was these trucks driving everywhere. So the unit was good, location was bad. Some locations were amazing, but the unit was absolutely atrocious. But anyway, one night I was on my last tether with this unit, and I thought, I'm gonna have one more look. So we went on our usual kind of search websites, and I'm looking, and obviously first page, every unit has been already seen, called about. Second, third, fourth, fifth page, so I keep looking, and there's just this unit pops up, and I look at it from the profile picture, the thumbnail, and you think, that's quite nice, it looks great. So I'll click into it. Well, on the side of it says price POA. So I'm thinking, here we go. It's either going to be really cheap because it's next to an ammunition store or something, or it's going to be because of the way it looked. I thought it's going to be super expensive and out of reach. Of course, there's plenty of units out there right now that we can go and take, but you've got to pay £15,000 per month plus VAT, so that's an extra £3,000. And then you've got business rates and all that type of stuff. So I thought you're going to be paying, £23,000 a month for something that I think could kind of cripple the business. So that's what I was kind of thinking about as soon as I clicked into it. So I clicked into it, still price was POA, so I was reading about it, and it said open brochure. So the website that we use, by the way, this traffic's horrific on a Sunday. That was a bad roundabout. So on the website that we kind of use, it says open brochure, and there was like a PDF thing. So I opened it. I'm apprehensive anyway. This unit looks really, really nice. So I open it, and again, it gives us the size, the location, and I looked at the price, and I thought something's not right here. The price, I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's kind of under market. Well, in fact, I'm not going to say that because I'm not a property expert, but to me, from what we've already seen, there was units of that caliber that were probably 1.8 times the price. So like a 0.8 difference. So I showed Kelly, and she read it through, and even she said, she was like, this can't be right. So we arranged a call. They confirmed that was the price. So we said, oh my God. It had apparently just been on the market 24 hours. Hence why we never saw it before. As you can imagine, new property goes on and off every kind of day. So we quickly rang the estate agent, organised a viewing for as soon as possible. Unlucky for us, it was over the weekend. So we drove up here, so exactly the same way I'm driving now, to park up and look like as if we're breaking in, because we're looking through the gate and everything. Anyway, we went to view it. It was a bit of a hasty one, so it was about late March time. It was cold. I think at the time it was like spitting with snow, so it wasn't like the most enjoyable view, and it was quickly, have a look at this, have a look at that. So we liked it. We said, right, let's start the proceedings. Now, the thing with us that we found out, like I always say to you on video, is so far we've been blessed with some higher power luck, that certain things that when you deal with, like, say, really big business and you're shipping a container in for the first ever time, you don't know what the process is. So we've had a little bit of guidance from the shipping company, or I don't know, the accountant or whatever. But with this, we've literally got nothing to bounce back on. So we didn't know what was going to happen, and at this point we're like thinking, well, are we going to be stuffed? Like, is there something we're not going to be aware of? So with this unit, we started to proceed with the solicitors. We are bringing everything under one roof, which again is quite stressful, because right now we can segment 4 different ways our business model, and kind of keep everything in its own area with its own kind of operational schedules. Whereas with this place, which you're about to see, it's not the same. Everything's under one roof. It's going to have to be, but that's how every big business operates. So for example, I'm driving past the big, is it UPS or DHL? I mean, it's huge, 150,000 square foot warehouse here. They obviously operate under one roof. So like normal businesses operate under one roof fine. It's just for us, being the first time, like I said, it's very scary. The solicitors, very expensive. We've had to go on the land registry. We've had to pay a stamp duty. It's just all these new things which we're unaware of. Business rates have increased because obviously it's a much bigger property. And on top of this, we realized, and this is literally the whole joke about this, is when we went to view it the first time, I look, and obviously it was empty, subject to kind of new lease. So I look at, there was one poster left, and I'm not going to mention this company, but I looked and I thought, this company rings a bell. By the way, it's a company that we've never used. So I thought, we've been shipping to this company for the last 12 months. So we get back, I Google the company in our orders, and part of the company, the managing director of this company, has been and is still an existing client, and he buys obviously all the products because he enjoys it and stuff like that. And that was the biggest joke about it, that the unit that we're moving into is actually a person that buys from us. So again, pick up the phone and I ring. His name's Paul, and I'm like, hello Paul, my name is Nick from YumCars. Obviously he was a bit shocked. It was like, oh hello, a little bit shocked, and he basically said, oh, how can I help? And I said, well, I believe we are taking on your new premises. By the way, I'm here, so it's not too far, as you can see. We're taking on a new premises. Can you give us a bit of kind of guidance? So he walked us through a little bit. Maybe this little thing needs fixing, or I would recommend you get this looked at. So with him, this unit that you're about to see, it was purposefully built for his company, which is actually really nice. A nice position to be in. He's had it from new. I think it's not an old place. I think it's a 2010, 2012 premises, I believe. I may need to check up, but it's between the 2010, 2012 range. What you will see now in a second, I'll quickly show you, because there's going to be a 2-part video to this. On the next video, I'm going to show you inside and stuff. But the thing is, it was built to his spec, which you can imagine anybody would. You build, if you had the means to build your own house, you would build it to your spec and not for the potential future owner. So it's, the thing with us is we're going to have to knock a few partition walls in, put a few more partition walls kind of where we need them. We're going to literally gut the place, rebuild it to the most amazing spec you have ever seen in your life. But with all of that comes money. So, and it's just one of these things, just to conclude on the video, it's one of these things that you look at and you think, we didn't have to spend this money. and we don't have to go through this absolutely huge headache that this is going to be to move a business, because I believe for some reason we have somehow operated so cleanly inside a business premises that we're in now, that for some reason people have got a little bit of hate towards us now. Now I do have a reason why I think this is happening. I'm not going to say it on this video now, but I do believe it happened after a certain prominent world event started happening in January, February time. I'm sure you can all guess what that is. So I'm just going to leave it at that, because for the last 3.5 years, so we're coming up to the 4-year point next month of being in this premises, all of a sudden for there to be a U-turn because of the most beautiful signage ever made, I think it's obviously, I can smell a bit of BS there, if I'm honest. But it's life, you know. It's if that's how people want to play, we'll play their game, because we can play it very, very well. And because of this, like I said at the start of the video, I believe everything happens for a reason. Now, with this premises, I think this is the reason. I think somebody above us, whatever that may be, has looked at us and obviously looked at the hardships and obviously all the stress that's happening. And I think this place here has been given to us on a plate at a really, really nice price, really nice location. Yes, I've got to drive 25 minutes, but I mean, come on, I can't complain. Kelly's happy. Obviously, when she walked in here, she was very happy. Obviously, her being the woman and the interior designer, I could see her cogs turning, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to make this place super nice. I'm going to have this for the staff. I'm going to have this for myself. I'm going to make you this." So, it's really exciting. So, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. This is the first backstory, kind of, to the move. I'm sure, obviously, you guys. Just let me know what your thoughts in the comments. I'm very curious, and I am sure I will have to on another video, which will move into a huge playlist of the moving vlog. I'm sure I will touch back on more in-depth points, because this video can be for 2 hours long, and I realize people will probably fall asleep halfway through. Let me know what you think about what my thoughts are as to exactly what's happening in our current location. Again, our store's going to be closed soon. Nothing online will be affected at all. So our typical business online, you can still go online and order it. That's going to be fine. That transition is going to be, that's painless. But in terms of in-store and the move, that will be closed very soon. But if you think I've made a valid point somewhere, let me know in the comments. I'm very curious, because again, I have, many people watch the videos, and maybe we've missed something, in terms of why we think something's happening. So if somebody with a fresh pair of ears and eyes thinks, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, I think these guys are doing this. So I don't know. I'll be very curious to hear and read what you guys think. My first driving chat, let me know, guys. Let me know. I have bought a new mounting setup, which hopefully on an unstabilized camera. So this is unstabilized, which means if I do that, the camera will move. I've got a really nice Sigma lens. I'm running it at a 1.4 aperture. So for all your camera / lens aficionados, 1.4 is a beautiful aperture. Obviously, all that stuff is blurred out. It's a Sunday and a lot of people coming in, so I don't know. I need to do a recce of this business park. Yeah, so hopefully this first driving chat has been okay. I am in the GLC 63, so the suspension is rock hard. So if I hit a rock, obviously the car is going to kind of move. It's very stiff. But hopefully you've had a beautiful experience. Hopefully the sound is as good as ever. Probably better, because I'm in an enclosed space and there's less echo and vibrations in the air. But yeah, first driving chat, new unit. You kind of now know, I think with this video, the cat will be out of the bag. We are moving. Super excited. We're slightly moving up north. As I said, 25-30 minutes, so the local customers can still come see us. we have a lot of custom. You know, the South Yorkshire area, for some reason, we have an obscene amount. I would say 30-40% of our customers are from this area. I do not understand why. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot down south. You know, Scotland's 10%, London's 15%. But this area is a big area. So, and it's lucky. Like, we did not move into this area because of this reason. It just happens to be good luck, let's call it. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have found some of my reasoning interesting, as always. And I will catch you very, very soon to where I'm going to walk you around the unit and give you a quick outlay as to what's happening. And hopefully I can give you some more of the future crazy plans in the world of my head. Thank you very much, guys. I'll speak to you soon.